We rolling?
Yes, sir.
We on?
Can
Okay.
you shut that door, Camden?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Top of the morning and welcome to episode 6, season 2 of the North Shore Station. Week 4 of the NFL season just happened. We're fired up to talk about it. A lot went down this week. A lot of great games. I'm here with Don Farrell. I'm here with Camden Euler on the ones and twos back there in the producer's chair. Cam, go ahead. Give yourself a little love there.
My microphone got an
Yeah.
upgrade. We figured it out.
Yeah, mic upgrade
good.
and everything. The boys every week. We're just building, leveling up more and more.
Brick by brick.
Yeah, brick by brick. We're building a house here. Not like Ben Simmons, a different type of brick house. But anyway, enough NBA.
Not funny,
Sorry,
dude.
Cam.
That intro was
But-
electric.
Not
by the way.
funny.
Enough of the NBA. Let's get into the reason you're here, the NFL. Week 4 just happened. Like I said, big week for a lot of big teams. And I think let's get right back into our biggest winners and biggest losers. Cam,
Yeah.
I'm going to throw it to you first out on the ones and twos, out on the DJ board, the turntables, if I do say so myself. Cam, biggest winner of the week. Let's hear it.
Probably the game of the week, in my opinion. Arizona, I wouldn't say easily, but pretty. I guess I'll say pretty easy win against what looked like to be the top defense in the NFL and the Rams. I mean, I think people had speculation about the Cardinals coming in. Were they going to be a contender, or were they going to be right there in the middle of the pack? And I think personally they've cemented themselves as Super Bowl favorites out of that conference. I mean, they just beat probably the other team who was considered other than Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. I think the Cardinals. I mean, Kyler Murray has looked amazing, and that supporting cast. Everybody is stepping up who needed to. I mean, Steelers fans are watching James Conner produce, which is unbelievable. Chase Edmonds is a stud. He's cementing himself as an RB1 in the NFL, and the defense looks good, even with Chandler Jones having a slow start after that 5-sack game against the Titans. So,
I think
if the Cardinals keep this up, I think you see them in the Super Bowl.
I think that's a really hot take to say that they're the favorites to win out of that division.
Who else is it?
It's the Rams.
They just beat the
That doesn't
Rams.
mean
They just got beat by
Anything.
17
That
points.
doesn't mean
It
anything.
is
They're
week
going to play
4.
each other again.
It is week 4, and this
later in the
season I've
season.
been Mr. Pump the Brakes, but I do agree with Camden. I think I was about to have them as my biggest winners, and Camden swooped in and took them just before me. Great pick from Camden. Great job being on the Google Doc first.
Thank you.
Props to Cam.
Getting there first.
But yeah, I mean, the Cardinals look great. You mentioned Chase Edmonds. I mean, before the season, or what did I say? Chase Edmonds? what's his name?
Chase
Edmonds. Did I
Edmonds.
get it wrong? I don't know.
No,
You
you're
looked-
right. He
gave me a
averaged
look.
10 yards a carry.
Yeah, I mean,
12 rushes,
the joke
120
before
yards.
the season was, the fantasy football joke was, I'm going to do the 0 running backs and Chase Edmonds will be my RB1. I
bad
mean, if you
idea.
did that and he's your RB1, it looks
Yeah.
pretty good right now.
If you start Chase Edmonds and James Conner this week, you probably won your fantasy game. I'm not gonna lie. James Conner had 2 touchdowns. He did his thing. I can't say I miss him as a Steelers fan because Najee Harris is leading all rookies in yards. I mean, that includes Jamar Chase. So yeah, I don't miss James Conner, but happy to see that he's doing big things in Arizona, and I would be happy to see him get a ring.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be nice for him, I guess. Pittsburgh kid, I'm sure the Pittsburgh faithful, especially this year where it doesn't look like they have too much to cheer for in the Steelers. I'll get to that. But I'm sure they'd like to see that. But yeah, I wouldn't actually doubt that they're the favorites to win the Super Bowl out of this division at all. I think they're clearly better than the Rams. I think they showed it here, very much so. Kyler Murray, like I said in weeks past, he's my MVP favorite right now, and he just keeps showing up and he keeps showing out.
So are the Rams the only undefeated team left? Right,
Cardinals,
before
you
this
mean?
week. Sorry, yeah, Cardinals are the only undefeated team now. I think because last week it was the
Broncos and they got
and the
beat
Panthers.
by the Ravens.
The
Lock
Panthers
of the
got
week,
beat by
by
the
the way.
Cowboys.
Big win.
So Cardinals are the only undefeated team left, but we saw the Steelers go 11-0 last year and not do anything with that. So I'm saying pump the brakes on the Cardinals this week. I'm not completely sold. I think when they have that second matchup this season, I think the Rams beat them convincingly in Arizona. Kyler Murray, he might be the MVP frontrunner right now, but I'd put Matt Stafford right behind him. And he didn't have a horrible game, 26 for 41, 2 touchdowns and an interception. Obviously, they couldn't get things done because they went down to a quick start. And the Cardinals just ran away with it. They got off to the hot start, and they didn't let the Rams get close. I still think the Rams have the best defense in the league by far. The Washington football team defense, incredibly overrated going into the season. And the Steelers defense was also pretty overrated going into the season. I'd still say they're both top. I'd say Steelers are still top 8. I'd say Washington football team's top 12. I think that's a fair assessment.
Yeah, around there.
Maybe even they both might be top 8. I'm not sure. What other games did you like this week?
Well, we can go on to the next biggest
My bad,
winner.
folks. As you can tell, I'm really out of it right now. Let's go. Let's go, baby. Let's do this thing. I'm ready. Let's go. Whoa. Good thing we don't do a live show.
Whoa.
Good thing we don't do a live show. I'm sorry.
Intramural football got you riled up.
There are plenty of words worse than what I just said. So.
Well,
I'm locked back in, though. I'm back.
Dom just got off some smelling salts. He's a little down after the flag football game. You can tell the energy's a little bit depleted.
Didn't get that tutty, unfortunately.
No tug.
Camden got that tutty, though.
You know who
Tug
did
for
get a
Dom
tutty,
this
though?
week. Cam did show up, though, on McCluskey. Shout
always
out to
show
the
up.
Southside Sigs. In the
That's
flag
the
football
alternative
team.
name. That's the alternative jerseys. Southside
But,
Sigs. But let's go on to the your biggest winner here.
Yeah, my biggest winner, right? Like I said, it was going to be the Cardinals, but I got to go with who my lock of the week was, and who got me a second lock of the week win in a row is the Ravens. I mean, they were underdogs coming into this game, only 1.5 point underdogs to the Broncos, of course, and the Broncos were undefeated coming into it. But I said, the Broncos, who have they beaten? They beat the Jets, they beat the Giants, and they beat someone else who I don't think had a win coming into this week. The Jaguars, who still don't have a win, obviously. So I think they were a little bit unproven. I think that offense has a lot of question marks, especially now with Drew Lock, who came in. I think Teddy Bridgewater went out with an injury. I'm not positive if that's why he went out. That is why. And even when he was in there, it didn't look great. There's a lot of questions. I think Javonte Williams is a really good rookie back, though. I think he'll be solid in the league. Melvin Gordon, looking a lot better this year. Looking back to his old self a little bit after last year, kind of.
I like what I've seen
do
from
much.
Javonte Williams a lot. I think you're going to start seeing Melvin
Gordon.
I was about to say Melvin Ingram, too.
Yeah.
Melvin Gordon. I think you're about to start seeing his role start to regress and see more of Javonte Williams because I think he might be more talented at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I like him a lot. And but anyway, off the Broncos to the Ravens, like I said, I mean, no matter who you got back there at running back, no matter how many injuries they got, as long as you got Lamar Jackson, you got a chance. You could put him out there on the Duquesne Dukes, and he could play against the Broncos, and you still would have a chance. I think it would be a lot less of a chance, granted, but he'd still have a chance. I mean, with him, he's got game-breaking speed. He's got game-breaking moves. Everything he has, it's hard to bottle up no matter what you scheme up for him. So I think you always got a chance with him. I think they showed that. I think their defense looked good again. I mean, I think, what did they give up, 7 points to the Broncos? And like I said, they've got questions on their offense. But the Ravens, man, I mean, people were sleeping on them because of the injuries. A big catch from Hollywood Brown this week. Really great diving catch. Great way to bounce back after 3 big drops last week. 2 of them were surefire touchdowns, and one of them he still could have scored on his 3rd one.
Yeah, we're good.
All
No, no lives.
Okay.
Are we streaming?
Not on YouTube. No.
I mean, like, are we recording now?
Yes.
Okay.
Here, wait. Real quick, I'm going to do one thing. Folks, welcome back to the North Shore Station. We got a little bit of technical difficulties there. We were accidentally live streaming on the Duquesne Student Television YouTube account.
And I accidentally dropped an F-bomb, but we're back now. We're back, and we aren't streaming on YouTube, so if we mess up again.
Dom looks like he needs a cigarette right now. But
I don't smoke cigs, for the record. Put that
but
on
he
the
looks
record.
like he just needs to take that edge off.
I do. You should have saw us sprint to the
That
back
was-
to
that was the
figure
most
out.
athletic
I also
thing I've
hacked
done in a while.
I also hacked into the account there. I'm not going to say what the password is or how I figured it
Well,
out, but
We'll give a shout out
hacked.
to Duquesne Student Television. Go give them a follow on YouTube.
yeah, subscribe to TSTP, please.
But anyways, where we were at, I think I was talking about the Ravens. And a big bounce back, like I said, for Hollywood Brown. A very nice diving catch after 3 drops last week. And then I saw Dom telling us to cut it. So that's about it for the Ravens. I think they're a really good team, and I think they're the biggest winners of the week for me. Dom, your biggest winner?
My biggest winner is the Dallas Cowboys. They played against the Carolina Panthers this week, who came into this game undefeated, but they also came into this game without Christian McCaffrey, which is a huge part of their offense. But the Panthers, going into this game, had the best defense of the season in the first 4 weeks. And Ezekiel Elliott recorded his first 100-yard game. Dak Prescott only completed 14 passes, but he had 4 touchdowns. So it shows that this team can make some mistakes. They don't need to play. They can play a little sloppy and still get it done. Cowboys are rolling right now. I think this game was a proving point that they are the team to beat in the NFC least. I was disappointed with CD Lamb. I'd like to see him get more involved. I'd like to see them stretch out the field a little more, use the deep ball with him. But having Zeke getting that 100-yard rushing game is huge, and that'll definitely keep defenses from Folks, I'm struggling today. It'll keep defenses guessing. That's my take. And Cowboys are the biggest winner of the week, and I'm struggling right now to get through this episode. I'm sorry, sir. Sirs.
Yeah.
This is the worst episode.
I think it's the best, personally. But, yeah, Dom, I think what you said is exactly right. I think it's huge to have Zeke back. I think he looks back to, maybe not elite level like he has been in the past, but he looks like a very productive back once again, and he looks like he's, going to help out this Cowboys offense a lot, which struggled a lot when he hasn't played well. Cam, NFC East rival, you got anything to say about the Cowboys?
I mean, their fans are delusional and think they're Super Bowl contenders, which is great. I don't compliment Cowboys, Eagles, or Giants very much, but Trayvon Diggs is so good at football.
Yeah.
That guy is terrifying. Why they keep throwing at him is beyond me.
Yeah, he's a big piece of that defense, and I think just from last year, this year, his impact is substantial. The Cowboys went 3 for 9 on 3rd down, so obviously not the prettiest game from them, but they got it done in the end. I'm excited to see what they can do. I'm going to be rooting for them to win the NFC East this year and kind of make an impact in the playoffs. That's what I'd like to see. Let's go to biggest losers now. My biggest loser of the week is the Tennessee Titans. The New York Jets got their first win of the season over the Titans. Titans were missing A.J. Brown and Julio Jones, but they still have the best running back in the world in Derrick Henry, who had a game, 33 carries, 157 yards, and a touchdown, but it just wasn't enough for the Jets, who put this one into overtime and win it on a field goal. That was a pretty good game. I enjoyed watching that one. But the Titans, I think they might have one of the worst defenses in the league. Signing Bud Dupree, it seemed like it was a splash free agency move by them, but he's been pretty much non-existent this year. I think the Titans are going to struggle more this year. They still are in first in the AFC South, not the prettiest division in football, but they aren't going to be doing anything big in the playoffs like they haven't in the last 2 or 3 years. What did you think about the Titans this year? Do you think they have a chance to improve this season and fight to make the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, I think they got a chance. I mean, anytime you bring in a new receiver in any form, but especially when they're a top guy that, is definitely going to demand attention from a defense, it takes a while to get into the flow of things. I mean, I can say that from being a Browns fan. It's taken a while for OBJ to get in the flow of things, and he really still isn't in it. I think last year he was starting to a little bit. You saw that Cowboys game, but even that, there still wasn't anything, and then he got injured. And then, this week, we saw it, of course, he wasn't in training camp at all, so they don't have that chemistry. But still, I think that it takes a while when you add a big piece like that into your offense. Really, the only person I can think of that has added a big name receiver and like the first half of the season they've made an impact is DeAndre Hopkins last year. And obviously he made a huge impact. He was spectacular for the Cardinals and Kyler Murray. But I think it takes a while for them to get into the flow of things. And then any game where you're missing your top 2 receivers, and not just any top 2 receivers, 2 of the top receivers in the league, in my opinion, Julio, and I think A.J. Brown is still very underrated. I think he's a spectacular pass catcher. I don't think he gets as much notification as he should, if that's the right word. I don't even know if it is, but whatever. So, yeah, I mean, it was tough. The odds were kind of stacked against them, even though they were playing the Jets. Odds were still kind of stacked against them. And, yeah, I don't think their defense is doing much of anything this year. And I think that's definitely worrying. But I think their offense still has time to get it back on track.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with them. Who's your biggest loser of the week?
My biggest loser of the week, for on and off field reasons, is the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean,
Urban Meyer,
first
you
off,
dirty dog.
Urban, yeah, I guess we'll talk about that first. Urban, I was kind of trying to defend you, I'm not going to lie. I was like, well, we don't know that's him for sure. We're not positive. Like, let's pump the
There were
brakes.
so many
It's
angles of him.
Yeah,
So
and it
many.
was
Selfies
upsetting
with these
a little
girls.
bit. And
Video of him grabbing a girl's butt. Stuff was weird in that club. I don't know what was going on.
yeah,
there.
not
a good
Urban's,
look,
not
especially when you have
Urban's
a wife
brightest
and
moment.
kids.
No, it's definitely not a good look. So that was rough.
Especially after coming off that Thursday night loss
And
where
I
you
was-
blow the 10-point lead.
Yeah, I was going to say, it makes it even worse, the fact that you just lost on Thursday night to a team that you were in striking distance of, the Bengals, who I think the Bengals are very good this year, granted. But shout out to Joey Burrow. He had a great game again. I think him and that offense are looking great, and they're going to continue to look really good. Honestly, I think they're going to finish ahead of the Steelers in the division, and I don't think that's saying that much.
Not
But
gonna argue
I
with
wouldn't be
that.
surprised if they compete for second even.
Yeah.
But anyways, but I still think the Jaguars are the biggest loser. Even in a game where you're that close to beating a team that is kind of somewhat comparable, and then you lose on a last-second field goal. It really hurts, and it's hard to bounce back from, especially when you're 0-3 going into it. Now 0-4. Now there's off the field stuff. It's going to be a very long road for the Jaguars to bounce back from this, and it's going to be very telling of Trevor Lawrence's career, really, of what he can do moving forward in this season. So the Jaguars are my biggest loser of the week. Camden, to you, in the studio, in the booth, who's your biggest loser of the week?
I think I had them 2 weeks ago. Whatever week they lost they had their other loss. The Saints are my biggest loser of the week. I mean, they're 2-2. This team wasn't expected to be bad. They were expected to be, in that division race with the Buccaneers. But now they're in third in the division with, getting spanked by the Panthers. And then this past week losing to what were 0-3 Giants at home. I mean, you can't. I mean, the Giants have looked terrible this year. And you let Daniel Jones throw 28 of 40 for 402 yards and 2 touchdowns. And you allowed Saquon to get momentum for the first time this year. Kenny Galladay had 116 yards receiving. I mean, there's just this Saints team is showing so many holes that they're on that fence of Breeze retired. The team isn't really what it used to be. They still want to stay competitive, but they're right in the middle there where they want to be competitive, but they're just not good enough to do it. And these are the teams that they have to beat if they want to be able to have that competitive looking record at the end of the season. And when you drop them to the Panthers are they have a good record, but on paper are the Saints better? Probably. Are the Giants better? Absolutely not. So it's just 2 losses that they got a really good win against the Packers week 1 and then beat the Patriots pretty well week 3. So this is a team that could be sitting at 4-0 if they just took care of easy business, but they have two tough losses on their record.
And they play
in my opinion.
And they play the Washington football team next week.
Yeah, they'll probably win that.
Yeah, I can see that being a major bounce back game, a Jameis Winston 5-touchdown type of performance.
Yeah, right now for the Saints, it seems to be every other week. Which Saints team is going to show up, which I always say about the Bills. That's kind of been my prognosis of them the last 2 years. It's kind of like which one's going to show up. Is Josh Allen going to throw for 400 yards and put up 40 points? Or are they going to score 12 points and their offense isn't really there. I feel like that's how the Saints are this year a little bit. I mean, week 1 looked dynamite against the Packers, put up 37 points. Week 2 laid an egg against the Panthers. Week 3, I don't even remember who they beat exactly, but they looked good in their win again.
The Patriots.
The Patriots, that's right. They looked really good in their win. They won handedly in that game. And now against the Giants, who, like you said, Camden, are definitely an inferior team, and they drop one. So I think that's kind of my prognosis of them this year. My diagnosis is which one are they going to be? Which team's going to show up? And right now it seems to be every other week they're showing up. So unfortunately for Washington this week, last week they didn't show up like they should have. So maybe this week they're gonna, and I don't know. We'll see. But that's what it's been looking like thus far in the season. Moving on, we'll talk about a couple more Week 4 games real quick. Of course, we have to talk about the Steelers, Pittsburgh-based show.
Yeah, do we need to talk about that?
And Dom is going to be upset, so we got to talk about the Steelers.
I think that's why I'm out of it today. I'm still suffering from that loss from yesterday. It was one of the more embarrassing losses in a long time for the Steelers, even though the week before didn't do anything against the Bengals. It's just not a good scene for the Steelers right now. Ben Roethlisberger clearly doesn't have it right now. And yes, everyone's asking, would the Steelers be in a better situation right now if Dwayne Haskins was starting? Yeah, they probably would be. They'd probably be competing more. It probably would have been a closer game. But would their record be the same? Probably. It's not going to make that big of a difference. You pay your respect to Ben. You let him ride it out. And at this point, if we don't get a win next week, I think I'm going to start just hoping for a good draft pick. And I can't tell you any time in my life where I've had that thought process of, well, we still got 12 more weeks of the season left, but I think we got to lose as many games as possible. And I don't want to think that way just yet. I'm going to give them some more chances. I trust in this offense, but the play calling is just horrible. And I thought that it couldn't get worse when we had Randy Fichtner as the offensive coordinator. But Matt Canada doing the same stuff and maybe even worse. 4th down, you're throwing it behind the line to Najee Harris. The receivers are doing their thing. Deontay Johnson, who last year struggled with a lot of dropping passes, he hasn't dropped a pass all year. He's getting an open field and making plays. Juju, he was clearly frustrated, as he should be, on the sideline. Everyone's making memes of him smashing the surface. Juju's still a good player. It might be his last year as a Steeler because he needs to go somewhere where he's going to put up numbers because that's his brand. If he's not doing anything on the field, no one's going to care about his TikTok. So I think Juju's gone, Ben's gone. It's going to be a rebuilding process, but I think it won't be a long rebuilding process. I think it'll take a year. Maybe this year draft a quarterback with a top 10 pick and also sign Aaron Rodgers. Let him learn from Aaron Rodgers for a year or two, and then the Steelers are back. It's tough right now. It's real tough.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of talk of Aaron Rodgers now in Pittsburgh, and I think that's interesting.
That's just wishful thinking.
Yeah, it's very
wishful
wishful
thinking. Why the heck would
thinking.
Aaron Rodgers go from Green Bay to Pittsburgh? He's going to go somewhere nice like San Francisco or Los Angeles or somewhere in Florida, but he's not coming to Pittsburgh. But I'll keep saying it. I'll keep putting it out into the world until it happens, until it becomes a reality.
Yeah, I mean, my weekly thing of now is talking about Ben and whether or not he should be sat. And I'm not going to say I'm an easily persuadable guy, if that's a word.
Might be.
I'm not a guy who can be persuaded easily, but I've done a complete 180 and I've changed my mind on
Really?
this. I think you got to take him out.
What a
and-
difference a week makes.
Yeah, 2 weeks. Yeah, last week I was kind of on the fence. 2 weeks ago I was like, no, leave him in, let him ride it out. Last week I was a little, maybe. Now I think it's time to sit him. I think it's time to put someone else in. Give the Steelers a chance. As much as I like seeing the Steelers lose, as much as I love being in a world where the Browns are 3-1 and the Steelers are 1-3, that's just music to my ears. But in the perspective of someone who is living in Pittsburgh, I could see how it would be pretty easy to say sit Ben. I mean, at this point, I think it's almost a cop-out, I said, or maybe even a cowardly move by Tomlin. It's kind of like, are you going to make the call where, I think this is what's best for the team is to put someone else young in. People might not like it. The media might not like it, but this is what our team needs. Our quarterback clearly isn't getting it done. It's a cop-out move to say, we're going to put in Ben, we're going to ride with Ben, and if he does great, that's awesome. And if he does terrible, what do you expect from him? It's Ben Roethlisberger. He's on his last leg. So I think it's a little bit, and it is a tough call to make. It is a tough call to make because, like I said, it's a guy who's been there for Dom's whole life, basically, has been his career as a Pittsburgh Steeler. When you watch a Steelers game, number 7 is under center.
Yep.
That's what you're used to in black and gold. Yep. So it's going to be a hard call, obviously. It's going to be one of the hardest calls to make in this franchise's history almost.
If I was the head coach, I'd let Ben ride this season out because it's just about respect. It's just about having some class.
Yeah,
what's all the noise back there?
I agree, but at the end of the day, I feel like what Camden's going to say is it's a business. It's about winning games. Camden, do you agree?
No, I don't even think it's about that. I think Dom is completely correct in no matter who they put at quarterback, the results really aren't going to change that much. But I still, wouldn't you want to see what can Haskins do? Because if you just ride Ben out.
Yeah, I saw that in preseason. It's not that much better than what we're getting now.
Haskins might be a whole new person. You have no idea because you're not going to put him in the game.
I mean, I liked what I saw from Haskins in preseason. I'm not going to lie, but to pull Ben, that's just a spineless move, I think, from the organization.
But is it spineless to pull? Is it spineless to pull him, or is it spineless not to pull him? Because, like I said, it's easy to say we're not winning games because of Ben, but it's his last year, and it's easy to say we got to ride with Ben, and if he wins, that's awesome.
They did almost.
It's spineless to do that. It's more courageous to say we're going to put in a young guy. We're going to put in our guy for the future because we think he can win games right now, and the media's not going to like it. The city's not going to like it, but they're going to like it when we make the playoffs or something like that. That's what I would do.
It's not happening this year for this team. I'm sad to say.
Not with that mindset. Sorry, go on, Cam.
It's not a good situation either way, but I just don't understand why you wouldn't want to. Because, what if you say you ride out with Ben, you get – you don't, and you end up with a good draft pick, and then where are you going to go in the draft then? Because you don't know what you have at quarterback. So
what if you take a quarterback? We take a top prospect.
But what if Haskins can do something for you? Then in that draft, you can get somebody to help that atrocious O-line, or you can get a receiver to replace Juju, or you can get. I doubt they'd go defense, but something where you could improve somewhere else to get the team back on track.
I agree.
This argument kind of reminds me of when the Ravens benched Joe Flacco mid-season, but the difference is they had Lamar Jackson behind Joe Flacco.
What if Dwayne Haskins is Lamar Jackson?
Whoa!
He was your
I'm not saying he is. I don't know
about that.
He was the Washington football team's quarterback for at least 2 years, correct?
Yeah.
And
I'm just saying.
And how do you like him as your quarterback?
Well, we're not talking about me right now. We're talking.
It's a new year.
The Steelers did the same thing with Troy Polamalu, except it was after the season. He had
but that's not the quarterback position.
And he wanted to continue to play, and the Steelers said no. They forced him into retirement. And I lost a lot of respect for the organization that day because you don't force out someone who's given so much to this organization in their career.
But that's not the quarterback position, though. You can deal with a bum safety. Washington does it every week with Landon Collins. It's the quarterback. You need to. That is the position you need to figure out, or you're going to go into deep rebuild.
I'm never going to say take Ben out. I'm never going to say that. Those words will never come out of my mouth. It might be the right thing to get more wins, to maybe make the playoffs, but we're in the hardest division in football, and we're off to a real slow start. And there's nothing much we can do about it except sit here. See if we win or lose, and if we continue to lose, okay, we'll get a good draft pick. We'll get a stud. We always nailed the draft.
There's a lot of football to be played, though. I mean, you say it like the season's already over, and you're thinking like a Browns fan in the past 10 years. But I could see why. But there's a lot of football to be played. You could put in Dwayne Haskins, and even if he's not a world beater at quarterback, the offense starts to gel more around him, and then they get a little bit better. He can do some things that Ben can't.
Let's say,
you never know.
Let's say the Steelers squeak into the playoffs like the Washington football team did. They aren't going to win a game. They're going to lose that first game, and there's no difference between losing the first game of the playoffs and losing all 17 games, except you get the number 1 pick in the draft.
Okay, so take him out. What is the point of keeping him in then?
So what you're saying?
It's all about respect.
We're not 5. He's a grown man. He'll take it.
So you rather lose with Ben than win with Dwayne Haskins?
So you're telling me if Mike Tomlin confronts Ben Roethlisberger, he's like, dude, you don't got it anymore. You're out of here. Do you think Ben will ever come back to Pittsburgh again? Do you think he'll want to come back to, like, be honored at a game? Do you think he'll give any crap about the Steelers?
Don't you think he might agree?
I think the common theme among
You know why Troy
professional,
Polamalu hasn't been back to Pittsburgh since he retired? It's because they forced him out.
I think the
They
common
showed
theme
disrespect.
in professional players and what you hear from advice from them almost is it's a business. It's a business, man. You can't take it personal. It's a business. Football is a business. The
Yeah.
NFL is a business, and business is booming.
I like to
so
consider-
you got to win. I mean, that's what business is.
I like to consider the Steelers one of the most respectable teams in sports. I'd put them up there with the Yankees.
You could,
They're,
I mean,
what?
I don't know about that.
What?
Just as respect.
The Yankees.
Just as an organization. Just
No.
as an organization and how it's run. It's one of the best run organizations in all
They
of
make
sports.
you shave your facial hair in New York.
Yeah, that's a little strange. I'm not a fan of
I don't
that
like
at
that.
all. They need to cut that out.
But anyways, all right, that's enough Steelers talk. You want to talk one more Week 4 game?
Yeah, let's talk about Sunday Night Football. Brady's return to New England. Belichick and Brady had a little hug at the end of the game. It was weird, though. Apparently, they had a conversation in the locker room for like 20 minutes. Those guys don't like each other at all. They can't. Camden, what do you think the relationship is between those two?
I mean, I think it's poor. I don't think it's like, they can't, like, I don't think it's like divorced people who like can't even look at each other. I think they're just like, they just, went their separate ways, and that's all it is. I think,
Belichick forced him out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he really forced him out. I think, okay, maybe he kind of did.
I think he
but
did.
he kind of
I
gave
think
the
that was more
idea
of a
that
cowardly
I need to move on because. Were the Patriots going to be, that as successful as the Patriots before with this team now? No, not really. So Belichick was looking for the future. I totally get that. I think it's, I think it's just one of those things that kind of had to happen. It's like, Brady had, he had better opportunities elsewhere. Would the Patriots have not taken Tom Brady back if Tom Brady was like, I'm playing here or I'm packing my bags and I'm done? They'd be stupid to say, no, Tom Brady, we're not bringing the
That's
GOAT
what
back.
Belichick wanted to do. The only reason he stayed was
Yeah, but
because
he
of
doesn't
Robert
get the final
Kraft.
say.
Robert
think-
Kraft said, you aren't getting rid of Tom. You're getting rid of Garoppolo. And that's
I think there's two reasons that Tom left in the end. I think one, they were starting to say you can't play anymore. And Tom's a guy like Aaron Rodgers, we talked about a lot last year. He's a guy who's going to play with a chip on his shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
He's the most competitive guy in sports right now. I don't think that's that far off to say. He's one of the greatest competitors of all time. He's up there with Michael Jordan. And I think the other thing is, though, I mean, Tom, you look at it now, I think Tom wants to have fun playing the game again. And I think he has more fun in Tampa Bay. There's that Patriot way that Bill Belichick has. You gotta be.
Way is just being a dick.
Yeah, and I mean it works obviously. Like I said, it's a business. But Tom Brady's in year 22 now. He's like my dad. He was working in the public school system for 30 years. And for those first 25 years, he took it very seriously. And not that he didn't take it seriously at the end, but he started to have a lot more fun. You could tell he kind of laid back a little bit more, maybe gave the students a little more lax. I think Tom Brady's like that now. He wants to get a little more lax. He's now with Bruce Arians. And in Tampa Bay, it's not the Patriots way. It's win or lose, we booze. And they're ready to go. Like, they're having fun and they're winning games at the same time instead of just winning games and you're not allowed on TikTok. You're not allowed on social media. Obviously, TikTok wasn't as big when he was on the Patriots, but still. So I think that's one of the big reasons that Tom Brady's there now. He's having a lot of fun, and I think he shows it when he plays and when he's off the field. And I think that's one of the reasons that I've kind of come around to Tom Brady a little bit more now.
Yeah.
Because he looks like he's having more fun. He looks like the guys around him are having fun. I think in New England, not that winning 6 Super Bowls isn't fun, but it might not have been – he didn't get to show his personality as much, I'd say.
Oh, yeah. I think it's like, he went to Tampa Bay, Like, he didn't go to, like, Minnesota or something. Like, he went somewhere where he could, have that bougie fun and, lay back, end his career in a good fun spot. He probably could have stayed in New England and, rode it out there, but it probably wouldn't have been, as fun to play there. But, I think Patriots fans booing Brady is just it doesn't really make any sense.
That was pretty weird.
It's like you said, they kind of pushed him out. So,
it's just mass holes in full effect.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
For sure.
No class.
Moving on, that's the end of week 4. Thanks for sticking with us for those games. Really good week in football.
Not for kids.
No, I would not say so.
I might need to bleep out.
Week 5, moving on in the NFL. That's the thing it does. It keeps rolling. You got to forget what you did last week and roll into the next week. So,
beat Denver.
Steelers fans got to remember that. A lot of good games this week. Thursday night starts it off good. LA Rams versus the Seattle Seahawks. The Rams are at -2.5 in this game, even after the Seahawks come off a big win against the 49ers. Dom, which one are you taking here?
If I had to pick one, I'd go with the Rams. I expect them to bounce back. This one's pretty tough as a divisional matchup, and them being on the road in Seattle. It's going to be very close. I think the Rams win by 3. I think they just cover here. And the over-under 54, I like the under a lot here. 2 stout defenses, I'd say. Seattle has gotten their stuff back together. They're playing good football. I like under 54 and Rams -2.5.
I also like the Rams -2.5. I think veteran quarterback, good head coach. They're going to be able to bounce back from a win against a very good team, a loss against a very good team.
Stafford's going to keep the MVP train rolling.
That's right. And like I said, short-term memory, new divisional rival this week, and you gotta move on. So I think they'll be able to do that very well. AFC North game, Cincinnati Bengals versus the Packers. Like you said, AFC North, toughest division in football right now. But the Bengals are the underdog, +3.5 against the Packers. And, I mean, rightfully so. The Packers have looked good. Week 1 seems like it was some sort of fluke. Aaron Rodgers maybe was still off the Jeopardy buzz. I don't know what was going on there. But now he seems to be back in the flow of things. They scored only 27 points against the Steelers, but 27 points against a very good Steelers defense, like you said, like we always say, is very good. I think the Bengals could shock them a little bit, though. I think people are sleeping on this Bengals team, maybe a little bit too much. And that'll be my bold take of the week. I'll take the Cincinnati Bengals to cover +3.5.
To win?
Just
maybe. Just take the points.
Maybe. I'll just take the points.
Last week I took the Eagles to win. If I took the points, I would have been 11-3 on my picks. I think Camden fell asleep. Oh,
Sorry.
There we go.
I was napping.
But yeah, I went 10-4 last week on my picks. I was on fire. I took the Eagles money line. That was my mistake. I probably should have taken the points. 11-3 would have been pretty nice. But I'm going to continue on this hot streak here. I like the Packers a lot. I think the Packers are one of the hottest teams in the league. I'd say Packers and Cowboys are the 2 hottest at the moment. So Packers -3.5. If there's an alternate spread for like -5, I would take that too. But I'll just go with the DraftKings -3.5 here. Over under 49.5. That's a good number right there. I'm not going to touch that. I'm not going to mess with that one.
Cam, what are we thinking back there?
I think alternate spreads are stupid, first off. And then...
Get that value.
Nah, I don't know. I don't see the Bengals winning this, to be honest. It's like, you said it. Aaron Rodgers looked slow to start, but they look into it now. And, some of their big guys have, been slow out of the gates. So I think this will probably be a good game for some of those guys to get back on track. I think they're due. I won't spoil it because I know Dom's got that in his back pocket. But
Dolphins, Buccaneers. Buccaneers are 10-point favorites. This one reminds me a lot of last week's Bills -17. It seemed like that number is just a little too big, but it wasn't for the Bills. And for the Buccaneers, I think it is a little too big. I'm going to take Dolphins +10. Over under 48. I like the under here. I like under 48. I'll go with that as well. Put that on my book.
Yeah, I'd probably take the under in this one as well. Jacoby Brissett's still in at quarterback for the Dolphins, but they haven't looked bad with him. I like Jacoby Brissett. I think he's a solid backup. Mm-hmm. I don't think he was ever really a great starter, but I think he's a really good backup to have. And yeah, I'd agree with that. 10 points is a lot. against a Dolphins team that, they don't have anyone they have Xavier Howard, who I would say is one of the best corners in the league. But really, there's no one who's really going to jump off the paper at you when you look at the Dolphins team. But I think they're very well-rounded. I think they're very well coached. I think they're a good team, and I think they can cover 10 for sure. Moving on to another game, the Browns and the Chargers. Got to talk about this one just so I can talk about the Browns real quick. It's going to be a big bounce back for the Browns offense. Haven't looked good the last 2 weeks. They looked really good against the Texans. Defense wasn't really there in week 2, but their offense kept them in it. They just kept scoring points. The last 2 weeks, it's really been the opposite. Like I said last week, against the Bears and now against the Vikings, their defense, only gave up 7 points, and it was on the opening drive where Kirk Cousins went 6 for 6, which is pretty impressive, and then he did nothing the rest of the game.
Vikings had one of the best offenses in the league going into this.
I'm very surprised with what they showed. Even though they had the ball at the end of the game and had a chance to drive down, even though I'm the pessimistic Browns fans who's always like, we're going to blow it somehow, I was sitting back in my chair and I had no worry about it at all. I just knew Kirk Cousins wasn't going to get it done. And it's not like I disrespect Kirk Cousins on here a lot. Like, I actually like Kirk Cousins. I think he's a solid quarterback, but just what he showed me that day just really didn't impress me at all. So
he's the one holding back that offense.
I would agree. I think it's time to pull the trigger in Minnesota and maybe draft someone. I don't really know who they have at backup, so I would say draft
Kellen
someone.
Mond.
Who is it? Kellen Mond.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, Kellen Mond could be all right. You never know.
I'd like to see him get some action.
Yeah, and like you said, Kirk Cousins is kind of what's holding that offense back. So maybe a dynamic quarterback could help them out. But for the Browns, it's going to be a big bounce back for Baker Mayfield. He looked bad, but I've said the last 2 weeks. I'm going to say it again this week. Rocky said it. It's not about how hard you can hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving. And I think that Baker's got that mentality a little bit. So I'm going to hope that he bounces back. I know Camden's probably going to say he won't, and I don't blame you because he looked really bad. And I said it with the Bills offense. I said it with the Saints now. I'm going to say with Baker, it is kind of which Baker's going to show up because some weeks he looks great. Against the Texans, like I said, he looked surgical. Even against the Bears, he didn't look that bad. And then last week, yesterday, he looked very bad. He was missing open targets. Looked like he was trying to get back into that thing where he's forcing OBJ the ball. I didn't really like that. He just missed some throws, and I wasn't crazy about Baker this week, but big bounce back. I still think we have the best run game in the league. If it's not Chubb, it's Hunt. One of them's got it going every week, and it's spectacular to see. I love those two guys, two of my favorite players in the NFL right now. So
the line for this one, it's Chargers -1. The opening line was Browns -1.5, so it's basically going to be a pick 'em here. I'm not gonna touch the spread. I don't know who's gonna win this one, but the point total right now, 47.5. I'm taking the over. I fully agree with you that Baker will have a good game, and
I think
and Justin Herbert will do his thing. So over 47.5 is the only thing I'll touch with this game.
I think Stefanski's going to be priming the pump. I think it's time for Baker to step it up this week. I think they're going to have some good things drawn in for him. I hope that he's got it. He's dialed in. He's locked in because scoring 14 points against the Chargers isn't going to win you the game.
Let's talk about 2 more games before we go into our locks of the week.
Yeah, I'll take the Chargers, though, in that one just because that's how I do it.
Oh, I thought you were going to switch it up on us.
But go on.
49ers, Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals are -5.5 picks. Cameron said this was his Super Bowl favorite. I don't know if I agree with that. Cardinals are very hot. 49ers, though, I think they're going to be the team to lock them up. They're going to give them their first L. I'll take the points, though. 49ers +5.5. Over-under set at 49.5. Not going to mess with it.
I'll take the Niners +5.5 because of the quarterback situation. I'm not sure if Trey Lance is going to play, but I think if he does, they cover. Ooh. I think they look better with him a little bit. Not that I don't like Garoppolo, but I do think you're right. I think this is the defense that's going to be able to shut down Murray a little bit, shut down those receivers a little bit. Not completely shut them down, but hopefully contain them a little bit more. I'll take the Niners on that spread as well. Camden?
Oh, you said it's +5.5. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
For the 49ers?
Yep.
Yes.
It's
I
in
think
Arizona.
I think they could cover that. I think this will be a very close game. I think it'll be a shootout, though. What's the over? Or I have the over as my
49
lock,
and a half.
actually. Spoiler alert. But
Oh.
no, I mean, yeah. I really like the Cardinals right now. I like the 49ers, though, too. You know, I've said before I don't like the 2 QB, you know, the double whatever you call it. But they're doing it actually fairly well for how they're doing it. But I know Garoppolo's beat up now. But, you know, I think, you know, a good game for Trey Lance to show what he's about
Garoppolo.
if they give him the start. So I think the 49ers could cover that.
The last game before we go into the locks of the week, Bills at Chiefs. This is going to be the Sunday night game. Chiefs here are favorites, -2.5. Another super hot team, the Buffalo Bills. The over, one of the highest I've seen this season, 56.5. Chiefs defense is bad. They just are not very good, and they're going to be the Achilles heel of this team. I can't go over here, though. 56.5 is a lot. I'll take Chiefs. I'll take Chiefs here, even though I was just trashing their defense. Bills have been a little too good lately. I expect them to regress a little bit this week, and Chiefs to take advantage of that, being in Arrowhead. -2.5.
Yeah, I mean, the Chiefs' defense has looked really bad. I mean, week 1 gave up 29 to the Browns. Week 2, 36 to the Ravens. Chargers 30, Eagles 30. I mean, I think the Eagles' offense is pretty good. I think all those offenses are actually really good when they're playing their best. The only reason I say when they're playing their best is because the Browns are in there, and like I said, when they're not playing their best, they don't look good. But when they're playing their best, those are all, I mean, maybe top 10 offenses in the league. Browns, Ravens, Chargers, and Eagles. Maybe not the Eagles. Maybe they're not in the top 10. But, I mean, when they got it really going, they've looked good, like we saw them in week 1. Yeah, I think the Chiefs' defense is for sure their weak spot. But the way this offense is, they can just outscore teams. I mean, like, they just keep doing it. And it's crazy. I mean, it was against the Eagles last week, but they just ended up running away with it. They just kind of find ways to make different plays, and different guys do, like, amazing things each week and every week, and it seems like every week they find a way to pull away with it. Obviously not this week, or this year, they're only 2-2, but still they have that X factor where on any given play, Tyreek Hill takes it 70 yards. Travis Kelce against, I think it was the Ravens, ran like a 60-yard. He caught like a stick route and took it 60 yards, and it was like, that's a tight end. Like, wow,
Yeah,
that was pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, the Bills could be coming out and be in a little bit of a lull. I wouldn't be surprised. They put up 40 points, could come in a little bit cocky, but it was on the Texans, so I think they have to stay humble this week in Buffalo. But I'll take the Chiefs -2.5 because it is hard to come off of 40 points against a really bad Texans team, and now you got to play. Like I said, the Chiefs' defense is not great, but they're better than the Texans.
Yep. Camden, can we get a unanimous selection here?
I mean, I just watched the Bills whoop my football team the other week, and then they put 40 on the Texans unanswered. And the defense of the Chiefs is struggling. The offense of the Bills is clicking. I think, you're going to see a barn burner in this one. I'd say the Bills. I'll take the Bills.
I like it. I like it a lot. Let's move in to the locks of the week. I won my first lock of the week after losing my first 3. I'm back. Lucas won his with Ravens +1.5 versus Denver. Camden, the only loser of the week here with Falcons Washington football team under 48.5. But the Washington football team got the win, so you got to be happy with that.
Is it a win?
A win is a win.
No, I don't know about that.
Since you lost, why don't you start us off with your lock of the week?
I gave it away earlier. I think I do that every week. But Cardinals 49ers over 49.5 for everything I said about 5 minutes ago. 2 good offenses. Should be a very good game. Probably the game of the week, in my opinion.
Lucas, your lock of the week.
Yeah, bury me in the middle, please. I don't want the spotlight on me. That's how I've won 2 in a row. Because I'm feeling good right now, and I'm feeling good on taking underdogs that shouldn't be underdogs, and that's why I'm taking the Broncos +1.5 against the Steelers. I always think that, the 1.5 point underdog is a great one to take. And like I said last week, I don't know if the Broncos should be favored over the Ravens because they're 3-0 because of the teams they've played.
Yeah.
But I think this is another team that's not that good, and their defense is going to shine in this game. And I think their offense could be a little bit better than it was last week, playing against a little bit better of a defense. But I think they got to get into a little bit of groove. And Broncos plus 1.5.
All right, I was deciding between a few different bets for my lock of the week. I'm going to give you my lock of the week. I'm also going to give you a little bonus that won't count. But
you're going to go against me on your lock of the week?
Hold up. I need to make up some ground here. I need Camden
Wow.
to lose, and I need to match up with Lucas. I can't be this far behind, so I need to go bold.
Technical play here from Dom Farrow.
Fortune favors the bold. That's what I'm always told. Forget everything I said about how bad the Steelers are. The Steelers are going to go. This will be in Pittsburgh, so that helps. Not like the home crowd is that electric this year. I'm disappointed in you, Heinz Field, I'm not going to lie. But Steelers minus 1.5. I think this is the perfect game to bounce back with an opponent who thinks they're all mighty and high, but in actuality, they aren't the best team in the league. I think the defense will show out for the Steelers. And I don't expect the offense to be clean and pretty, but they're going to be able to get it done here. Minus 1.5, that's my bold pick. And here's the bonus pick of the week. Here's what I had initially before I saw Lucas's lock of the week. Davante Adams to score a touchdown. That is my lock of the week. He's had 1 touchdown this season so far, and that was 2 weeks ago. The line here is minus 155, so it's not the best odds. A little bit worse than just betting a spread. But if you like free money, take that. Davante Adams over half a touchdown to record a touchdown. Same thing. I think that wraps it up, folks. There are the locks of the week. Like I said, I went 10-4, so continue to ride with me. Lucas, I think you went over 500 with your picks last week, and Camden, I think you did pretty well as well. So we're rolling pretty hot. Do we get that alternate angle yet?
Yeah.
Hey!
Live camera.
Let's
There you
get
go.
it. Here's what the studio looks like. I'm going to have to crop out that green screen. All right, folks. Enjoy your week. Enjoy football. Enjoy the podcast. I'm sorry for how out of it I was today. My co-host held it down. We are back. Camden, flip that. Yes, sir. Thank you very much for producing the #1 producer in all of podcasts. Thank you, folks. Oh.
Thanks
Have
for
a good
tuning
night,
in.
everybody. See ya. That was a struggle to make it through that one. I'm not going to lie.